To another edition of the Coach and the Scribe. Chris Rossetti here alongside Jess Quinn, talking about Karn City's big win over Clarion tonight. Jess, a little surprised at the final score being, 17, 18 points, whatever it was.
I was really surprised. Karn City came out and they were patient with the ball at times. They moved the ball really, really well, in and out, in and out. Waltman is just a game changer. Having him in the game, we talked about the offense moving through him. And even though he doesn't have to score, he's a big body. He attracts a lot of attention, which leaves his teammates open. They knock down the shots. Clarion, on the other hand, I thought, when push came to shove, I thought they pushed the ball a little bit too much. It created some, it didn't create the opportunities they needed. Created a lot of turnovers, and then the score got out of hand.
Well, and I think one of the keys to this game was Karn City changing its defense. They started with that box and one. Clarion was beating them with some other guys. Josh Craig, Skylar Rhodes hit a couple big shots in that first quarter, and then Coach Bellis went away from that, went more into just a straight man, maybe a little bit more of just a straight zone, kind of mixing it up, but kind of got away from that box and one. Got to give Karn City a lot of credit for being able to change defenses on the fly like that.
When you have big bodies, Micah Roop blocking shots, you got Nathan Waltman back. You have Chase Bailey. They are very, very good defensively, and I thought Coach Bellis did a wonderful job changing his defense because Nick Frederick, Skylar Rhodes, those guys are Josh Craig. Those guys are going to knock down shots. You put a hand in their face, you make that shot awkward. They're apt not to hit it when that happens. I thought Chris Bellis did an excellent job changing that defense. And you see the result in at least, 18-point win, something like that?
Yeah, and then Caden Corbett. I mean, what more can you say? A kid comes into the game, scored 26 points all season, has the first half of his life, ends up with 16 points. He was our Hager Paving Player of the Game. It's just a great story sometimes. I was telling him after our interview that we did with him, as we're going downstairs to interview Coach Bellis, I was like, I just love stories like that. I love watching a kid who maybe you weren't expecting to step up in a big game, step up and really be part of the reason his team won.
If you look at this game from start to finish, I think Corbett got into the game defensively because he was the one that was charged with playing Calvin and in the box and won. And he thrived on that. Now, Calvin hit some great shots, but I think a lot of it stemmed from his defense. And then once that momentum started, and it's a great story for him, 26 points on the year, comes in, has a game of his life, and is very, very deserving of the Hager Player of the Game.
And then you look at Clarion, and there were some good things. Kelvin German can just create his own shot, and that's not something that we see a lot of in the KSAC and District 9 guys, the ability to just create their own shot. When you watch a player like that, and you had an opportunity to coach him for a couple years, it's just kind of a treat to watch a guy like Cal German in some of those shots, some of what he's doing. Even though his team lost tonight, it wasn't anything that he was doing that kept them from winning.
No, and Calvin is such a competitor. I mean, he is going to do whatever he can to be on the winning side of a ball game. Excuse me, of a ball game. But sometimes that competitiveness can create an atmosphere where he's trying to do too much. Where he's trying to create too much. He's trying to hit those shots. He can hit a lot of those shots, and he is a fantastic player. If he works the ball a little bit more, is a little bit more patient, and he's a junior this year, but if he works the ball a little bit more, I think he'll get not only more open shots, but also get more of his teammates involved.
Well, that actually sounds like you talked about back on December 13th about Chase Bailey maybe trying to do a little bit more, and tonight we saw Chase maybe be a little bit do a lot of what you were talking about. And, that's something that comes with younger players, underclassmen, where, maybe you have a game or two like that, and then maybe you can learn from that. How important is it, when you look at a guy like Chase Bailey and just seeing where he grew from the game that we saw him against Keystone to the game we saw him tonight?
Oh, that's what Bob and I were talking about earlier. We were looking at that game versus this game. Now, they didn't have Waltman, and that's a huge, huge difference. Big time difference. However, there were things that he was doing tonight where he wasn't forcing the ball. He was taking better shots. When he saw the lane, he was taking it in, making sure he was getting that contact and then going up and finishing so he could get the foul and then go to the line. Some of the things, you know, that weren't happening in that Keystone game earlier in the year, and you just see that with maturity. Plus having, you know, Roop and Waltman on the floor, it's just really made it a lot easier for him.
My question is, we start, you know, January 3rd already. We've got basically about a month to go in the regular season. We've seen Keystone, we've seen Carson City, we've seen Clarion. Those are probably your top 3 AA teams out of the KSAC. I don't know if any of them handle the ball well enough to play against a Ridgeway, which is going to be on the ball pressure constantly. What do these teams have to do to get better to be able to handle maybe some more of that pressure that they probably aren't going to see until they play a Ridgeway?
Really, they just have to control the basketball. I mean, they have to slow it down. Take what they give you. I mean, that seems like such a cliche, but it's very, very true. When you're playing against a sound defensive team, a Ridgeway, even Coudersport, you know, those northern teams that want to, you know, keep the score lower and play defense, you can't turn the ball over. You have to be sure with your passes and take what they give you. Don't be afraid to hold the ball for 30, 45, you know, a minute.
Well, Tony Allegretto's made a living out of that.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, I know sometimes that's not my favorite brand of basketball, but it's a very successful brand of basketball.
Effective.
Very effective. Very, you know, the PIAA Elite 8 appearances speak for themselves in something like that. And I know a lot of people from Ridgeway on social media think that I hate that. I don't hate you at all, guys. Your way of playing basketball is very successful in something that has been is keeping, you know, you guys in competitive games all the way into the state, deep into the state playoffs. And you know, I think at this point in time that until somebody beats Ridgeway, they've got to be the favorites as we stand here on January 3rd.
I would think so. You know, stemming from that style of defense that they play. You know, it seems we've always talked about the, you know, on the southern end here, it's a higher scoring game. You know, a lot of offense. Northern teams play a lot of solid defense. Defense wins championships. It has the last couple of years, and they've been very, very good at it. As it stands right now, I haven't seen a team yet that's going to withstand that type of defensive pressure. I could be wrong. I hope that I'm wrong, you know, with, you know, Keystone and Clarion and Carson City moving forward, you know, as the year goes and we get into the playoffs. But right now, they need to take care of the control of the ball a little bit more than what they are right now.
No question. Hey, Jess, thanks for another edition here of the Coach and the Scribe. Until next time, folks, this is Chris Rossetti saying good night. Thanks, Bob.